right, so this is he wrote his grandma the other day about his dog and how cute he is. And now he's writing his grandma again. So you don't read again this side. This one is one we've already read. We will work on this next part right here. All right, here we go. Oh, and I also have to get my history journal out so I don't forget to write my notes. So my history journal is ready to go. Dear Grandma, wouldn't you know it? I have had Depot for only 1 day and already both he and I are in trouble. I knew this was going to happen. I even predicted this. I bet it was, I said he was going to get into the chickens. I forgot to fasten the latch on his crate when I went to bed last night, and during the night he got out and roamed around the kitchen. Oh no, he found a basket of Ma's newly washed clothes, and did he have fun. He scattered shirts and underwear all over the place, from one end of the kitchen to the other. Was Ma ever mad? She said she'll have to wash the clothes all over again and that it's my fault for not latching Depot's crate. Ooh, Mom's bummed. Grandma, I'm in trouble with Ma and I deserve it, especially after I promised her that this sort of thing wouldn't happen. Oh, I see. I thought Pa would be after me too for not latching the crate properly, but he didn't say anything. In fact, I caught him smiling a little when he saw what Depot had done to the clothes. Annie thought Depot was just having a little fun, and she said, so she sure didn't help matters. Ma blurted out that my puppy better learn to have fun with something besides her clean clothes. Well, yeah, because like back then they didn't have wash machines. You had to wash everything by hand. I would never probably have clean clothes if I had to wash it all by hand. I got to remember to latch that crate at night. Something else happened today that I must tell you about. The railroad tracks are only about a half-mile from our farm, and a train goes by in the morning and in the afternoon. I can hear the engineer blowing the steam whistle when the train crosses over the country roads. Pa says the train runs from Fond du Lac in Marshfield, where it connects to the other train lines. Well, this afternoon, while I was doing homework in the kitchen at the kitchen table, there came a knock on the door. I thought it was one of our neighbors come calling. We haven't met all of them yet, so I figured someone was stopping by to say hello. It didn't occur to me that I hadn't even heard a car drive in. I pulled open the door, and there stood the skinniest, saddest looking man I've ever seen. Oh no. He probably jumped off of the train. His clothes were dirty and torn. His shoes looked about worn out, and he wore a dirty gray hat, which he took off when I opened the door. For a minute, I didn't know what to say, but then I did what Pa always says to do when someone comes knocking at the door. I invited him in. Oh. By now, Pa and Ma and Annie had come into the kitchen. We all stood there looking at this forlorn man who was clearly down on luck. In a near whisper, the man said he hadn't eaten since yesterday and asked if we had a spare piece of bread. Right away, Mom said that she would make him a sandwich. I'll work for it, the man said. I'm still strong. I can split some wood for you, do whatever needs doing. Oh, no. Well, that's good that he's willing to work for it. Paul told him we didn't have any work for it and that he didn't have to work for it and that Sunday is a day of rest. He invited the man to have a seat and tell us a little bit about his situation. I think Pa figured from the fellow's appearance that he'd been caught up in the Depression, had probably lost his job and was riding the rails looking for whatever work he could find and begging for food. And Pa was right. The fellow had come from Chicago. He was laid off from his job more than 6 months ago and is working his way north, riding the freight trains and trying to find work. He said that his name is George, just like mine. I wonder if that's real. Huh, well, it's probably kind of a common name. He finished off the sandwich Ma put in front of him and drank a big glass of milk. Ma asked him if he wanted more, and he quietly said that another sandwich would be wonderful. Before he left, Ma packed some bread and sausage in a bag. I saw her tuck in a few sugar cookies, too. The man stood at the door and thanked us again, and I think he had tears in his eyes. And then he was gone. I watched him walk away slowly down our road until he was out of sight. Pa shook his head and said that the depression is a terrible thing. That was a good man who sat at our table, Pa said. I wonder what will happen to him. I'll talk to you about the Great Depression in a little bit. I'm going to put up a video on the website as well. Pa didn't have to remind us that we moved to Wisconsin because he lost his job in Ohio. We sure are a lot better off than this poor guy who's sneaking rides on trains and spending a lot of time walking along the country road begging for something to eat. Your grandson, George. Oh, well, I'm so glad his family helped him out. And they listened to his story. I wonder if that part, meant as much, and his mom packed him a sandwich. I know that some people don't feel the same way about, or some people probably wouldn't have been able to be in that same situation to give him food. Dear George, what fun you must be having with your new puppy. Depot is a great name, and it fits him too. You are very clever. What? Wrong way, sorry. You are very clever, there we go, fellow to come up with a name like that. In one of your earlier letters, you seemed sad about living in Wisconsin. With your new little puppy as part of your family, things will surely look better for you. I know you and your little sister will have lots of fun with Depot, but remember that puppies are just like any other baby. You've got to look after them. Puppies especially like to chew on things. It's their nature, and sometimes they chew on things they shouldn't. Like one of your Pa's shoes. Oh no. I hope that doesn't happen. Puppies also can get into trouble with other animals. This is where our adventure story comes in. I wanted you guys to pay attention. Puppies also get in trouble with other animals, especially wild animals. They don't know any better. Puppies are really curious. And when I was a little girl, we had a puppy that waddled off and got in the chicken yard. Oh no, I heard the little guy yelping after a big red rooster pecked him right on the nose. He never bothered that old rooster again. I felt bad for the puppy, but it was kind of funny too. Nothing tangled with our red rooster. He was king of the chicken yard. Love, Grandma S. I love that story. So, I am going to put for my predictions, I was right, they did get in trouble, because I said, I'm going to get my page open, sorry. It said, I predict that the dog will get George in trouble at home. Maybe it doesn't like chickens. See? I was so close. So, today is week 7, day 1. Letters from Hillside Farm. Letters from Hillside Farm. All right. So, number 1 for today, I'm going to say I was right. Exclamation point. Depot and George did get in trouble. Depot got into the laundry and made a mess. Mom was mad. Oops. Mom was mad. So I actually have 2 sentences there. Capital and mark. Make sure you capitalize and spell the names right for the characters. This is good practice for the story you're going to write. +2. Okay. Next. The Great Depression is why George's dad lost his job in Ohio. Number 3, capital. And the Great Depression is actually capitalized. So is George and Ohio. +2. So make sure you capitalize those pieces there. Number 3, George's, I'm going to say George's family fed a man who was down on his luck because of the depression. George's family fed a man who was down on his luck because of the depression. Please take time to watch the video that I'm going to post. This is probably one of the most, well, it's very fascinating to see how the Great Depression affected not just the economy but daily living. Kids who were 14 years old were going to school, getting jobs. They weren't able to finish school. 8th grade graduation that we used to have when we were kids. 8th grade graduation used to be the highest level a lot of kids went to. So that's why people are always like, why do we celebrate 8th grade? It's not like a thing, like you can do anything. Well, back in, the 1930s and 40s, it was, if you finished 8th grade, hot dog, man, you were doing great. You could get a job. You could go do things. So George's family fed a man who was down on his luck because of the depression. I'm going to put his name was George too. His name was George too. And TOO is like the word also. Period. Capital. Depression. Capital. Comma. And +2. Number 4. Grandma told George. Oops, I almost did a lowercase. George about her dog that got attacked by the rooster. Grandma told George about her dog that got attacked by the rooster. +2, 5. I still predict the puppy and George will get in a little more trouble. And capital for I, capital for George. I still predict, predict the puppy and George will get in a little more trouble. I bet he does something with the chicken still. I still bet he does. I bet that dog is going to see. I mean, literally chickens. If I did not ever chase a chicken when I was a kid, I chased birds like seagulls and then I just went to go chase a chicken. That did not go over the same. Chickens were mean at my grandma's house. They would like attack you.